the narrative, and I was pushing it.
Same.
Was every game, this guy's given up a soft goal. And the difference between teams that win and teams that don't is often one soft goal.
Yep.
And last night, there was no soft goal. And some of the greatest glove-saving action I've ever seen in my life. I don't think Brodeur could do it like that.
One of the greatest overtime performances I've ever seen from a goaltender.
Amazing.
Off the top of my head, it's tricky, man. Carey Price game 6 against Toronto 2021 was pretty spectacular.
Yep.
The State should have won that game 3-4 times.
Well,
3-4 times. And 2 or 3 of them off Matthews' stick.
Yeah. It's a different so interesting, because it was the conversation this morning could be Austin Matthews, Team America overtime hero.
It very narrowly was.
That'd be awful.
It would be.
I would have hated that. I wouldn't come into work. I'd take the day off.
You know how I was on time today? I wouldn't have been.
No.
Absolutely not.
See you guys on Monday. We're skipping Friday's episode.
Peter Baugh posted this. Jordan Binnington is a flawed goaltender, but his career numbers in winner-take-all games are as follows. He made 23 of 30 saves in the 2019 second round Game 7 game against Dallas. I'm sure Steve remembers every minute of that.
Wait, what was the number?
What?
29 of 30 saves.
Oh, 29 of 30. I thought you said 23 of 30.
No,
that's awful.
29. And still won.
Yeah,
still won. Clutch.
Still won. Wow.
32 of 33 saves in the 2019 Stanley Cup Final, Game 7 against Boston, and 31 of 33 in the Four Nations Face-Off Final. That's 3-0.
Dude, you could go back to his days in the OHL. You really could. With the Owen Sound attack, that was a really overmatched team in the OHL that shouldn't have gone as deep into the playoffs as they did, and they won the whole damn thing. Winner take all game on the road. Mm-hmm. It's what Binnington does. He wins winner take all games on the road.
It felt like he was pulling a prank on us when he was making those saves in overtime. I was like, it's not the same guy. It didn't feel real.
You know what? He didn't look nervous.
No.
He didn't look nervous. Man, ice in his veins. I'm trying to think of another goalie who tricks us so effortlessly. Mm-hmm. Remember the narrative getting pushed 8 years ago-ish that Jonathan Quick wasn't good? His numbers sucked.
He had a bad time towards the end of his tenure in LA, and they moved on from him. And then he got to New York, and he was the best goaltender in the world again.
Yeah, but
and still currently is having a good time.
There was a time where in the regular season he was middle of the pack, and
he was the one good month goaltender.
Oh, there was basically no one you'd rather have in net in the spring.
Yeah.
When you get to the playoffs, Jonathan Quick shows up.
Yeah. Sorry. And what I mean by that is one good month in the regular season, and people are like, "This guy stinks," and then you get him in the playoffs, and he's a god.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, hockey, sports, grossly overuse the been there before championship pedigree narrative. Mm-hmm. You saw it.
You mean Binnington there before?
You see? You saw it in that game. You saw it. That is stupid. The saves he made were stupid. He made the best save of the tournament probably 4 different times last night.
Probably consecutively with those glove saves.
Brady Tkachuk is going to see him in his nightmares. Mm-hmm. Austin Matthews is going to see him in his nightmares.
And that Matthews line had it. They had it all night. They were great.
The Tkachuk brothers on the wings of Austin Matthews should violate the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
And they were unbelievable when Matthew was out there. Now, that was a factor.
Yeah.
I mean, you healthy scratch Kyle Connor, and Matthew Tkachuk is only able to give you under 7 minutes. That's a killer.
Yeah.
That's a bad one, and I'm going to say, it's hard. You don't know what happened during the game, but that's an error of judgment.
No, that's on That's like, there's no one to blame there, because if Matthew Tkachuk tells you he's good to go, you play him. You can't tell him that you're going to bench him. And if something happens during the game where he's like, I'm no longer able to go, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
You can't make the decision ahead of time and try and predict that like he won't finish the game. So
Yeah.
I think on their end, it's just the way the game works. Sometimes some guys go down,
In a tournament like this, I mean, one of the best players in the world, you got to pick up another 3 or 4 minutes. Do you think you can do it?
Right.
Of course they can.
So we're going to double shift either like Matthews or
Eichel,
Eichel or maybe one of the
Gensel.
Tkachuk brothers or Gensel or like they have options.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's just the game.
We're all over the place. I don't know what direction to take this in.
Well, we're
I don't think that's your role.
don't worry. You
think
be
Adam
all
will
over the
clean that
place.
up
I'll
for
bring
you.
it back
Yeah.
to center. It's all good.
Yeah, well, like
I mean, like we are on Binnington, and then I said,
sorry,
hey, the
sorry.
Matthews line had it going. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to all of that stuff. I mean, it's fine. You keep going.
I mean, listen, if you subscribe to that narrative, in overtime it was been there before versus hasn't.
Right.
Who had all the best chances?
United States.
Matthews has won playoff series, one playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
He's 1-8, I believe. He had 2 or 3, and Brady Tkachuk has never played a playoff game in his life.
Although it looks like he'll be a menace once they get in.
I mean, we all knew that.
Yeah, he's gonna be a problem.
We all knew that.
Yeah.
The best thing.
What an animal.
The best thing to come out of post game with Brady Tkachuk was that graphic Sportsnet threw up about how no American had ever won a best on best that was playing on that team. I don't know if you guys saw that.
What?
No American
Not one?
on that team has won a best on best.
Whoa.
Kreider?
No.
Well, Kreider, he got a gold medal at the World Juniors. I guess they're not counting.
No, they're talking about
Professionally.
men's, not juniors, best on best. No player on the Team USA roster has won.
Wow.
Best on best.
That's quite the stat.
And that's the sort of
I'll bring
thing,
it up.
when you hear us complain about Gary Bettman and the NHL not allowing players to go to the Olympics and to these tournaments, that's what we're talking about. Like, we lost a whole generation. A whole like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, it's not that they haven't won, which they haven't, but they haven't even had the chance. Haven't even had the opportunity to succeed or fail.
Right.
They haven't had the stage. It's monstrous. It's
So-
unfair. Like, look at the gift that this tournament was. What do you mean?
Yeah, so
What do
Maddie,
you
if you want
mean?
to throw that up, I think so. What you were talking about of the been there narratives with Team Canada and Jordan Binnington specifically, who won in that building, and that's a large reason that Team Canada believed in him because he got it done. I feel like it did have an effect on the roster in these big moments where you're going against a team that no player on the United States roster has ever won a best on best tournament, and on the other side, you gotta stare down Sidney Crosby in the faceoff dot. You gotta stare down like
Nathan
McKinnon.
Oh.
That was the funniest line of the tournament because McKinnon would get kicked out of the faceoff dot and Sidney Crosby would go.
Right. But Nathan McKinnon, who I don't believe has won a best on best, but has a Stanley Cup.
Yes.
McKinnon's
Canada had a ton of cup wins.
McKinnon's not old enough to do the best on best, but he has the cup. A lot of guys on the American side have cups too. But
Not as many.
You're looking at Brad Marchand, who doesn't have as many cups, but has the best on best experience. And they brought Drew Doughty, and we all okay, Drew Doughty hasn't played, but like he has the experience, and I feel like the experience mattered.
Yes.
How many players on last night's team were on the 2010 team? I think it's just Crosby and Doughty.
It's 3.
Crosby, Doughty, and
Who's the third?
I got to think about that. Why can't I think about that?
It's 3.
I don't know.
From the 2010 team?
Yeah.
Not Marchand.
Marchand was. Has to be Marchand.
No, not 2010. No, he's not old enough. He was a rookie when the Bruins won the cup in 2011. I don't know.
Oh, he's 35.
All right, let's pull up the roster.
Is it 3?
Crosby.
I can see 2014
Doughty.
being 3.
Maybe I'm thinking of 2014.
Sochi probably.
Maybe
You're probably thinking
I'm
of
probably
Sochi.
thinking of Sochi.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
Even then, I'm like-
yeah, you're going 20.
2010.
Yeah, 2010. It's probably just the 2. Let's see.
Like Doughty was an 08 draft pick playing at the 2010 Olympics. It was a big deal.
Doughty is on the roster, and Crosby, and that's it. It's 2.
Psychotic.
Yeah.
Psychotic.
Wow.
How are they still here? Doughty's played, I think, 14 minutes all season.
Well, sorry, no, Steve. That's 28 minutes all season.
No, I know.
'Cause in one game, he played 28 minutes.
Like coming off a broken ankle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Completely unbelievable.
Yep. And I think that's, what you saw yesterday. And if we're going to talk about Drew Doughty for a second.
I don't know how else to talk about. Like, I don't know where else to go with the Binnington conversation.
No, I think it was great. No, I
just
think we
say
did
holy
it.
living fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
you were amazing. And listen, we're moving on. I'm just letting the conversation progress. But let's
Can you give me the third name who was
Sochi?
on Sochi?
not Marchand?
Marchand is
'cause
not there.
He didn't really pop off until the World Cup. I remember him being on that top line with Sid. We were all like, Brad?
Really? Sorry, you went like what?
Brad.
No, you can't do that with your voice. The voice is shot.
Jesse hit me. Hit me, man.
He didn't make it to the tournament. Alex Pietrangelo.
Oh,
That's not fair.
I was gonna be like, it can't be Petro.
He was
That's
named
not
to the
fair.
roster in December.
Yeah.
Stop.
Didn't make it to the team though.
Unbelievable.
That's not fair.
What got me about Doughty was his play with Thomas Harley. Now, Thomas Harley has been bubbling under the surface for a long, long time for his great play in Dallas, but I think because it's at least on the eastern side of the hemisphere, a lot of people don't stay up late enough, can't watch every Dallas game, and Thomas Harley with Drew Doughty such an interesting pairing because we talked about, and we'll talk about this later, the potential passing of the torch with Sid and with Connor. But I felt defensively like that was, hey, Thomas, here's Drew Doughty, multiple time Olympic champion, and he's going to teach you how to carry that torch.
If you haven't been there, he has.
And they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal. Smart plays. Harley running that sort of interference so Nate could get the lane and score that first goal. Awesome stuff.
I felt kind of bad for Josh Morrissey not making it into that game. I thought he'd had a really good tournament. The States were so violent and so physical. You needed the size.
I think Harley, whether or not Morrissey was sick, I think he still would have been the right call. Based on how he played.
Yeah. I mean,
him and Drew Doughty together were unbelievable.
Morrissey must have been on death's door to not play in
well,
that
so was
game.
Cale Makar, obviously, right? At one point.
Yeah. Right? Like, but this is the championship. Like, to not be good to go for the championship is, I mean, you got to be dealing with something. Look at Matthew Tkachuk. Like, he could.
Yeah, he wasn't on, and I don't believe Morrissey was on the ice either. So, like, even when, because Travis Konechny was, remember Brad kind of scooted him over on his back to the thing.
Oh, like he didn't even accept the medal.
I don't think so. I didn't.
What?
I don't think I saw Morrissey on that.
I'm
on the
not
ice
sure.
for that, and which means he was probably really sick. Is my point.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He. I mean, maybe he did.
Maybe he did, but I haven't
didn't
seen a
notice.
thing. And
The funniest grabbing the medal was people making fun of Sam Montembeau for being the person in the group project who did nothing.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Like, relatable. Hell yeah,
It's
Sam.
not even like he was the backup goalie. He was out there in his suit and he walks up and he gets his medal. And
Yeah.
everything. Like, yeah.
Nah, man. He's a part of this too.
Montembeau.
Listen, I disagreed with some of the choices, but Sam, you did your part. You're a good team.
Adam,
That's
you
what
could
need.
have been the third goal.
I could have been. I would have, and listen, gladly would have accepted. Call me, Doug Armstrong and Kyle Dubas.
My favorite part of my 2010 Canada team photo that I have in the Blue Room is the jump scare I get every time I see Marc-Andre Fleury.
That's true.
And like a boneless Marc-Andre Fleury because he's not wearing any equipment.
Right.
He's just in a suit.
Yeah.
It was weird seeing boneless Sam Montembeau. You're not supposed to see goalies boneless.
No, it's true. It's true. They're a lot. They inflate them a lot with those pads on. You know.
They do. What do
like
you
when
mean
you-
you're the size of a normal person?
It was like the picture of remember there was two years ago in the 2023 playoffs, and the Panthers went on that run, and they played that crazy game into 4 overtimes or whatever it was, and there was that picture of Sergei Bobrovsky after it, and the guy is a twig. Like he was just because he was just wiped. Like he probably lost 10 pounds just playing that game. And
Modern goalies are shaped like Slender Man as it is.
yes,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a tough job.
Some of the funnest things we do when we interview athletes and we get to talk to like some of the junior kids and when we rarely talk to NHL players on this show is when we ask them what they eat. because they lose so much weight and so much sweat. They just have to consume all of the carbs all the time. And goalies especially, like these guys who are twigs and they lose everything off of their bodies playing one game and they have to just consume everything back just to maintain that. It's so interesting.
Binnington's like that.
Yeah.
Binnington's like, I think the NHL probably leads all of sports in guys you'd see at the bar. and like someone's like, oh yeah, that guy's a pro athlete.
Yeah, no way.
That guy is like literally an elite. That guy has so many championships. Okay, see that 6'7" guy in the corner? Okay, so he made him cry.
Yeah.
Like,
No, hockey is the king of the average dude, but he's a pro athlete.
yeah. Well, like, I don't know. The problem with the bar is you got to wear pants.
Yeah. But then, yeah, if you got to look at their thighs,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, no.
Oh, sorry. I didn't notice that your lower half is shaped like a rhinoceros. I didn't notice that. It's so silly.